Hey, welcome investors to the 40 Finance channel. My name's Jeff Beers. Today we're going to look at Amazon stock trading just under $3,100 before the market opens today. And it kind of brings up the question, is Amazon stock on sale? It is traded as high as $3,500 here in the pandemic run-up. And so we're trying to see, is this a buying opportunity, particularly for those of you who do not have existing positions? Obviously, Amazon's going to grow forever, and it's a great investment for the long term. But we want to see, hey, is this kind of dip or flat line that Amazon's going through? Is it a good time to buy in, or should we be greedy and maybe wait for more volatility in the market? Reminder, as always, that my stock picks and projections are just my opinion for your entertainment. Please make sure you do your own research before investing in any stock. And of course, if you like stock market analysis and personal finance content, then please subscribe to the 40 Finance channel. Thank you to everyone who has supported the channel. All right, so let's take a look at where Amazon stands today. On the close of December 9th, we had a little bit of a down day, and it was trading at 3104. Here, there's a suggestion that the market will be down again today, so you could sneak in this 3080 mark or perhaps even lower. And when you look at the chart, you can see that really July 1st of 2020, Amazon was about $3,000. So not much of a run up since July. And yet, meanwhile, we've seen a lot of stocks skyrocket in that time. So that's where I sort of got the idea for this video to sort of come out and say, hey, is this kind of a good enough dip for Amazon? We'll see their growth prospects here coming up, and I'll spoil it a little bit. And the growth prospects are great. And again, I don't think anyone is arguing the long-term appeal of Amazon as a stock. But if you could get in perhaps under this peak of 3,500, you might be able to get some quick returns while still holding on for the long term. Looking at the quick fundamentals, you got a P ratio today of 90 and an EPS of 34.20. What makes Amazon a great growth stock is that we do have a PE and we do have an EPS, so we can actually put some fundamental metrics behind what Amazon's going to do in the future, as opposed to some of these high flyers out there, the Palantirs and Snowflakes and whatnot, that have yet to generate an EPS, and therefore we're kind of left projecting blind, so to speak. All right, so the first thing we do whenever we're going to look at a stock and say, hey, how is the valuation today compared to the past? One of the quickest ways to take a look at that is to compare the trailing PE and forward PE across time. So here we have the 5, 6, 7 most recent quarters and where Amazon's valuation was trading. And you can see here 92 is about where it stands in this quarter. And in the recent pandemic past, you can see Amazon was getting way up there, way out of its average. In fact, at the end of the quarter on June, you had a price that was trading at 131 times earnings, and the forward earnings weren't much better. Now, in this yellow box, I've kind of highlighted what I figure to be the sweet spot for Amazon, and that's in that 81 to 85 range of a PE. Back in March and last December, we still had low interest rates. So that makes it a semi-comparable time period. This was also pre-pandemic, if you will. So we can take that out of the equation. Obviously, it dipped under the 80s with PE if you want to go all the way back to the summer of 2019. But in that forward PE range, we want to hit in and around 60 on the forward PE, not too far off of that today. In fact, just a notch below. And you have the advantage in this little stretch here on December 9th and 10th of the market dipping a little bit. All right, so let's take a look at Amazon from an EPS standpoint. Last year's EPS in 2019 was 23.01. This year, analysts have them landing at 34.87. That it would include this fourth quarter that's going on right now. Amazon's fiscal calendar runs through pretty much a traditional year. So we would find out in February if they do indeed hit this mark of 34.87. And then next year, you're jumping all the way up to 45.37. So Amazon is in this spot right now, if you're still on the sidelines, where the EPS is starting to have huge growth. So if these numbers hit 23 in 2019, then you jumped up to almost 35 if they hit this number. And then next year, you're looking at almost 45, 46. And that number is still, over a year away. So it very well could go up. You see the high estimate is 63. So what does it all mean, at least for February 2021? So if we take a PE of 89, which is about where it's trading today, we assume Amazon hits the 34.87 for the EPS on the full fiscal year, and then that would give us a price of 31.03. So right about where we are today, basically. If we get further dips in the market, you could start to make the argument that it is getting on sale, at least in terms of the market trading in this PE range. Now, if you take the 2021 projection of 45.37 and you assume that the market will still trade around a PE of 89, then you're looking at a stock price over $4,000 for the next fiscal year. So the bottom line on this, February 22nd number is just the fact that, hey, you've got, let's pretend you got Amazon for $3,037. You make that investment on one share, potentially, at least on paper, you've got another $1,000 coming to you as long as Amazon keeps hitting their numbers and the market continues to trade at these valuation points. Okay, so let's take a look at what the top-ranked analysts on TipRanks think about Amazon stock over the next 12 months. And it looks like, no surprise, buy across the board. This is still a great investment, particularly if you're willing to hold for 3 to 5 years. I just don't see how you can go wrong. These estimates, are projected over the next 12 months. They're coming in a little bit higher than I was, at least for February. But if they are a full 12-month outlook on upside, you can see that they're really in line with that 4,000 to about 3,750 mark for most of these analysts, which is an easy 20-some% upside, making you way better money than a savings account would. All right, this text is really small, but I wanted to show you just how impressive the Amazon growth rate is, at least the projected growth rate over the future. This is from Morningstar. These are the financial estimates. Let's start in 2021. You can see how the revenue goes to 488 from 382. And then next year in 2022, you get 589 in billions of dollars, of course. That is a 27% revenue growth percentage. 22, you got a 20%. And then if you go down to projected EPS, Morningstar is actually coming in a little bit higher at 36.57. Then they jump to $52 in EPS and then $71. So from a fundamental perspective, if they get close to these numbers, man, it's really impressive how Amazon's EPS is starting to take off. All right, so bottom line here on Amazon stock, first of all, you just can't argue owning Amazon over the long term. You may be able to come out and say this stock was supposed to grow more and all that, but as far as guaranteed growth, I just don't see how you could argue it. The current PE of 90, which may go down even further today if the market continues to dip, yes, that is higher than the historical PEs, but look for dips, and we might be in the middle of a dip right now. If you see that price for Amazon at 3,000 or below, if we have a longer term dip, then I say yes, Amazon is on sale, certainly compared to some of the other price opportunities that we've seen over this year. Personally, my exposure is through various ETFs in my retirement account, FDN and IYC and QQQ. That's the route that I've taken so far on Amazon. But you know, with some of this research that I've done here, I do have some interest in picking up a couple shares on a standalone basis. We'll just have to see how I play the game because there's always other opportunities. And for me, I feel good and I sleep well at night knowing that, hey, no matter what, I've got my Amazon exposure. I do believe in them and I'm building for the future. It's just, do I want to buy them on my retail brokerage from a standalone perspective? All right, guys, so that's my take on Amazon stock. It looks like if you saw a market dip in December and into January, certainly in that $3,000 range, might be a great time to pick it up. If you're holding for 3 to 5 years, I just don't see how it could go wrong, quite frankly. So that's my 2 cents anyway. Let me know what you think in the comments. We'll see you on the next video.